Welcome to the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. And welcome to the Blah, Blah, Blah podcast. Hey, to all of you chat family. How are you doing? Welcome to today's special episode and podcast. I wanted to come up. I know this is a time that's different from the time that I normally show up, but yeah, I definitely wanted to come on and say thank you so much for 1K. This is the 1K show. I am very appreciative to everybody who supports me, supports this channel. Yeah, all of those things. And I just want to say to everybody who has supported me and will support me in the future, thank you so much. It really means so much to me. Y'all know I'm a hustler. One thing about Marlene, I'm a hustler, baby. I will hustle for what I want, and I am grateful. I work hard. I hustle hard on all 5 of my channels. I'm going hard because I have a reason, I have a purpose, and I know my worth. So, all of those things. With all of that being said, let me go to the chat and see who is in the chat. We have, of course, my Wi Fi is going to start buffering, but I can see. Hey, Miss 702, how are you doing? I see Lisa J. Stocks. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Sunday. We got Boss Life Online. Yes, everybody. How's everybody doing? If my Wi-Fi will cooperate, I can put some names on the screen. There we go. My Wi-Fi wants to act right now. So, hey, Lisa. Hey, Boss Life Online. How's everybody doing? So, welcome to the 1K show. Um, you know, I couldn't do this 1K show without my ace. So, I got to add up here Boss Life Online.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing out there?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. Oh, come on, Marlene. All
No,
right.
this is the 1K show. We're allowed to do a little bit of, silliness, foolery. It's the 1K show.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can do a
So
little bit of that.
you celebrating 1K?
I'm celebrating my 1K today.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, congratulations, Marlene. Congratulations.
Thank
Well,
you.
well. What you gonna do? What's that next move, girl?
Next move is bigger and better things, not just
All
for
right.
myself. Not just for myself, but I got to talk a minute. I don't really talk about that on this channel, but I do on my other channel. But, I just want to tell somebody who today needs to hear it. It doesn't matter where you came from, it doesn't matter what other people say about you. If you want to do something, you make a plan and then you follow through and you do it. Yep,
Yeah.
follow through and you do it. So, Miss Boss Life Online, we're here for the 1K show. And, I had to do it like, Marlin style. I don't dip into this too often, but we're going to go there today. We're going to be talking about these enemies, fakes, and family.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Well, I don't know about these enemies because you don't know you got them until they actually show themselves. Because, see, they can be acting like one way. Ooh, girl, yes, go head on. And then when you do go head on and make it, then they behind your back talking about you and getting them up a couple of people to talk about you too and go against you. I'll be like, what in the world? There, to me, especially if you really thought that that person or persons were your friend. It is hurtful, Marlene.
It's very hurtful. See, the whole thing about it is when we talk about people who are enemies, most of the time it's never who you think, you know.
No,
An
it's not.
enemy, an enemy usually is always somebody that you never would ever suspect. Hey, Team Ranger, welcome.
That's what I'm saying. You never would suspect that they would do the stuff that they do. And it's just like that girl I was talking about the other day. You know, I thought we was Ace Boone Coon or however you say it, and she went to the supervisor and because she was mad at me because I didn't even know she was mad at me because I got a higher position than her.
Mm,
So she
mm,
went to the
mm, mm,
supervisor
mm.
and told her everything we said about all them people in the office. That's an enemy.
Yes, that's an enemy. And the whole thing about enemies is you think most of the time the people are those are the people who love you, and then it winds up to be like, what?
But she wouldn't even had the good job she had if I hadn't recommended her butt.
Mm.
See, that hurted. That was I couldn't stay there and work with her after that. I told them people, look, here's my 2 weeks notice. I mean, and
Mhm.
no, I did not say any of that. And I don't. And you think I was going to admit to that? No, ma'am.
I know.
I said that I ain't say any of that, and I cannot work with a liar. That's exactly what I told my supervisor.
Ooh.
And I gave them that notice, and then they gonna call me back in there and try to beg me to stay, that they was gonna overlook it. I said, well, I cannot overlook choking her down.
Mm, mm, mm.
Okay, I said it is best for me to leave. In fact, I'm leaving right now. You know me, Marlene.
I know.
Well, did I have recovery then? Yeah, somewhat.
See, the whole thing about it is what I don't like is when somebody does something to you, right? And other people who have they don't have the facts, or that's their little buddies, or they
Well,
probably were plotting together.
right. Well,
Um,
I got my purse packed up, got a box from the storage room, packed up my stuff, and I never looked back. I left, got my car, and left. Do you know them people was calling me for 2 weeks, talking about my job is that I was doing a good job, and I just stopped answering the phone.
mm,
What about her? You need to put her out, but they didn't.
and that is the issue that I usually have. Like, we didn't, the title of this is not jealousy, but almost in every aspect of these three things is jealousy.
Right, and
And
that's what it was. It was just a lot of jealousy because one of the girls that I used to work with there, gave me a call. She said, "I hope don't hang up. I know you don't want to talk to nobody at work here." She said, but they found out that the girl was just jealous, and they really want you to call. I said, because they was talking to me like I said it, which I did, but I just didn't like how it went down.
yeah, and I think it's because it's a betrayal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who can work with somebody like no? I found me a job in 3 days. In fact, 3 days, and then told them that I couldn't start work for a week, so because I needed some time. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I didn't have it. Back then, jobs was really plentiful in what I did. I was
Yes.
administrative assistant. So it wasn't like I couldn't find another job, and I was getting tired of that one anyway.
Yep. Sometimes the best thing, like, don't even get me started on jobs and the little fake friends on the job that pretend to be so close to you, and the minute anything goes down, they throw you under the bus.
That's what I'm talking about. You never know who your enemies are, and sometimes in the family it's that way too. You know, you just never know. Luckily that my sisters and I, we ain't never fell out to the point till we couldn't fix it. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't like that enemy kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a cousin, let me tell you, he thought he was the big dog until he ran up on Geo. Okay. He gonna tell us that he can do this. I cannot say what it was that we got into together because I just don't want to, put that out like that and throw him under the bus. But he promised that he could do something, and then it was gonna cost like $350. So I said okay. And back then, I had plenty of money because my home business was doing well. All right, and he was my cousin. All right. So I said, okay. And so coming further on down the road, like 2, 3 weeks, I called, no answer. I called, no answer. See, and I said to myself, okay, let me get him up on Facebook. So I went to Facebook and I got him. And I said, well, what's up with this? I thought you was going to deliver the goods and all of this here kind of stuff. And he gave me all of this runaround stuff like that. I said, well, I don't think that you're being truthful. If you're not being truthful, I'm going to give you a chance to give me my money back. I said, and if you're not going to do it, you need to let me know. Well, let me see. I can do it. So I gave him another week. He still gave me the runaround. And then he started talking mess about, you don't give me no time. And this was a no refund deal and all of this here kind of stuff. I say, and he's supposed to be a minister on the top of that. Okay? And I said to him, you are a low down, dirty dog. And God don't even hear your prayers. Boy, when I told him that, he was so upset. He went and told the whole family.
Listen, let me tell you something, Gio. I'm so sorry that happened to you, and it is so hurtful when it's your family, your quote unquote your relatives, because I found in my case that the people that are my blood relatives, like, they feel that they can talk to you anytime, any way that they want to, that they can disrespect you, tell all your personal business, and pass judgments about you, but at the same time they're not doing anything with their life, but yet they are complaining or finding fault with yours, but they're sitting down and doing nothing.
I
So
know.
that's what it's like. That's a no for me, because Gio, you know me for a while. I'm not the type of person that I don't get in other people's business. I let people live their life. But the whole thing about it is like, why do people feel that they have the right to get in another person's business and they're not even handling theirs?
No. That's how come he ran up on the wrong one. See, Geo don't give you no money unless I go through PayPal. Okay, I said, oh, so you're not going to give me my money back? No, it's no refund. I said, well, we will see about that. And so I took that whole conversation, okay, and I put it in did you know how you do the refund deal? I put that whole conversation in the
Right.
PayPal and told him, please get my money back because this is a scammer. Guess what? They froze his account.
Good.
And he was mad. He come text me, why you didn't, I was going to give you your money back. I said, you was going to give me a boom, boom, cuspadity thing. Okay? And PayPal gave me that whole money back in 2 days.
Good.
Then they undid his account. He had a lot of money in his account.
Listen, don't even get me started with family when it comes to money, because that's just thinking about it makes my head like go like in circles. It makes me get dizzy because family thinks that you owe them something, like especially if you have a good job. Oh, you make good money, so why don't you just give me some money? Or you got good credit, so why don't you let me use yours? I was like, yeah, so you could ruin it in the next 2 days by charging it up. That's why
Right.
I have good credit. Like, no, no, you cannot use
Yeah.
my credit and you cannot borrow any money. And I love how they always say borrow some money or hold some money.
Oh, let me hold.
Let me
My
hold.
granddad, yeah. Let me, granddad, let me hold $20. I said, reach in your pocket, get $20 and hold it. Let me tell me, he said, granddad, oh, you got jokes. Oh, my grandkids, but they didn't grew up and they got their own jobs now, so they don't call granny that much anymore. But I spoiled them. I used to give it to them because I used to have the money. You know what I'm saying? But I never did expect it back.
Yeah, the whole thing about, I think when it comes to family, the issue most of the time has been happening since the beginning of time is that way back in the day, people never put boundaries on their relatives. And now, because of therapy and books and things like that, awareness just in general, we're learning that the ones that we think care about us and love us, they don't care about you or love you at all. All they want is to separate you from your money, to know your personal business, or get you involved in some drama in supporting them. And if you aren't willing to do any of those things, then now you're the worst person and you've never done anything for them. I always think it's so crazy how people will flip just like the light switch, like 1 minute how much they love you, and next thing they talk about they can't stand you and you think you're better, and you're like, what just happened? Was that like a bipolar moment, or like what's going on?
No, they just crazy. You know, and let me finish up that story though, Marlene. Before I went to PayPal, his dad, like 2 days before I went to PayPal, his daddy Larry is my first cousin. It was his son. Okay, we all are close, right? And his daddy called me. Oh, Gio, I was calling you to find out what is happening with you and so and so. And I said, I'm sending him to jail. That's what's happening. If he don't give me my money, he is going to jail. All his daddy was upset. Please don't do it. Please. I know you done it before, but don't do it to my son. I'm going to get him to give you that money. Child wasn't thinking about them. I just went on to PayPal. That was the end of that. And I have not spoke to neither one of them since.
Wow. It's crazy the things that family members will do to you, and I'm sorry that you have had to endure it. Now I have to, this is the real talk and real conversation, so I do have to uh go into this. And I know that, Gio, this is not your favorite topic, so I if you want to go on mute for a while, you can, because I know it's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, but I have to say this. But sometimes we have people in our family that are predators. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people in our family and they're very sketchy, very weird. And, it's been happening since the beginning of time. But I know it's not something that nobody wants to admit, that they have a person who is weird or strange or all of those things. But I have to have this, especially on this channel, because this channel, I love to talk about just the openness of it all, that don't feel because you have your quote unquote relatives that you're safe, or your children are safe from being victims of that. And I wanted to say to all you mothers, fathers, aunts, cousins, If you feel something is making you feel uncomfortable, or you notice something different in your children's behavior, question it, like what's going on. Let's not be like the past, because I grew up in that age, in the 80s, where when things happened, everything was swept under the rug, everything was hidden, you didn't talk about it. But all of that needs to end, or it's going to be, even though something happened to them, it's going to be even more painful because of the weight of trying to carry that, and that's not what we want.
Right.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah, you have to be careful because, child, I know my people,
Mhm.
and they the brothers. That's what I'm gonna say. Not my brothers, but the brothers of my daddy and all of his brothers were pure hoes. I'm just gonna put it out there like it is. Okay, that's what they believed in. And I always said to myself, that is not me. I don't want one of them because I would choke them down. Okay? So it
Mhm.
makes no sense for no man to try to get with Geo and gonna have 20 children on the side and 50 other women over here.
Mhm.
Understand? That ain't gonna fly with me. To me, that's weird. That's predator. You understand what I'm saying? That's not of God to me. And I'm talking about just me. Other men may say that's what men do. Well, you go ahead and you do that. But don't bring it my way. Because, see, I got an issue with that from my childhood. And
Mhm.
that is just unforgivable
Yeah,
to
that's a
me.
and that's a and I forgot to say trigger warning, because I know some
Right.
people may be triggered by this, and I know that it's of sensitive nature, but we definitely do have to talk about things that are uncomfortable, because it is the real talk. And most of the time in today's society, things that make people uncomfortable, they pretend, they lie about it, or they change the subject. And I'm not willing to do that over here on this channel. I
Well,
have to say that.
I'm not willing to sit here and act like that didn't happen in my family. Because, see, that's a lot of the reason, plus the death of my mother, why I sit in therapy for 5 years.
Mm,
Okay? And I'm not going back to no therapy trying to keep no secrets. And back in the day, I'm pretty sure a lot of children saw their fathers do stuff that they shouldn't do. And I want to tell everybody, if you did see that, it was not your fault. You did
yes.
nothing wrong. That was their decision, and they wanted to be hoes. They wanted to
Mhm.
do whatever they wanted to do because back in the day, the women couldn't do nothing. They already had saddled them down with 9 and 10 children. So what was they gonna do? Where was they gonna go? They don't know how to work. They don't have no job skills. None of that. I said back in the day, 10 years old, that would never happen to me. I'm going to get my education, and I'm going to have my own job and my own money, and I'm not having but one child, and that's all I had. You
Mhm.
wanted to deal with me? Hey, you better have you some children before you met me. Because Geo ain't going to go there. Mm-mm. It's just ridiculous how, and they don't even think about how it affects the kids. And
And
not to see their mama cry like that. Uh-uh.
and the whole thing about it is that when you have a parent that can't keep it together, can't keep it in the pants, they that ruins the relationship within, because you can feel love, a very
Right,
loving
yeah. Yeah,
environment, and that affects the children.
yes. And it affects a lot with the kids. because then the boys, they think that that was all right to do. Daddy did it, you know. I'm like, something ain't right. Why ain't we talking about this? You
It,
know, yeah, that's because they would get together and all four of them out there in the yard laughing and kikiing and going on.
and that affects girls in that thinking that that's the type of man I should get. That it
That's what
shows
I'm talking
it
about.
shows it shows girls that it's okay for a man to cheat on you. It's okay for a man to do all kinds of things and treat you
Thank
any
you.
type of way, and you have no choices, and basically you have no.
Even yes, and even
Yeah.
though you may say, "I'm not going to ever get a man like my dad," is because you were raised up in that environment, and whether you know it or not, you always gravitate to the bad boys.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you keep asking yourself, why do I keep picking these types of men? I didn't find out until I went to therapy. Thank God I went, so that I can stop choosing these types of guys. Okay, it does affect you in some kind of way. Most people won't admit it, but I will, because I'm free of it. And
Yeah.
I am not trying to have no man in my life like my father. You
Yeah,
know, go ahead.
because the whole thing about it, Gia, was that, in talking about this, when we talk about this, if your mother did not break the cycle, then it becomes a generational curse, because
Right,
then all of the daughters start, will repeat the cycle and choose a man just like it, and then their daughter. So it will never end until one woman in that cycle, or one male in that cycle, the family says this is not okay.
right.
This is not how you act in a committed relationship. And
No,
having the conversations with your children that things, whatever mom or dad, because it can go the other way too, Gio. It could be the mama that is out there, you know.
right.
But
Yeah. Either way, it's going to affect you whether you think it's not. Because I didn't think that that was going to affect me, because I always said I didn't want that type of relationship. But it did, because I grew up in a dysfunctional home. And yes, it did affect me, but I don't know how to put it, Marlene. It was already embedded in me some kind of way from looking at it, as a kid. You know what I'm trying to say? That
exactly.
it's it's hard to explain, but
I can't imagine that, because I didn't go through that. But
mhm.
you opening up and having conversations like this is very important for someone who has been through it or is currently going through it. In my family unit, amongst my relatives, I should say, the issue was secrecy.
Yeah, that was a secret too.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted to talk about it. A
it
lot of
was.
stuff.
Yeah, everything was a secret, and it got on my nerves, because how was everything was a secret when you were a girl? I'm sorry to all you guys, but this is a real conversation. But it was like when you got older, everything had to be hidden. You couldn't let your brothers or your father know you were on your menstrual cycle. It's like, hello, we're grown, we're growing up, we're getting older. Like, why does everything have to be so secret? Or if you didn't, everything had to be hidden. Every problem, every issue, nothing was ever talked about. And I believe that gives you even more issues, because I can say how it affected me. Hold on one second. I see I had two people come in. Hi, Breeze, and hi, Blur Sunset. Welcome. Um,
Yeah.
how that affected me is because I got so used to keeping everything inside, that I didn't know when it was my time and somebody was stepping over me and making me feel inferior or taking advantage of me. I didn't feel like I feel like I wanted to speak up, but because I didn't know how to, and because I didn't see representation, like I didn't see my mother doing that, you know? So I thought that was not a woman's place. And I know that that may sound strange or backwards to some people, but that was the case in my family. Like, as a woman, it was like it's not a woman's place to say anything. Men can say and do whatever it is that they want.
Right. And
Women
you
are supposed
probably
to,
carried that right into your adulthood.
and the crazy thing about that, Geo, is that I never agreed with it. When I would see it, it used to upset me, but I never knew how to express myself when you've been under a heavy yoke, a heavy thumb, or feeling like there's always going to be some backlash if you speak up for yourself.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That what you went through, you would carry that because you didn't know how to speak up for yourself. So when you got to be an adult, you probably was like that and didn't know how come, and unless you went back to your childhood to see how it was in your family. See, I didn't understand what was happening to me until I went back to that very moment that I found out about my dad and his brothers and what they were doing. Is when I figured out that, yeah, that's why I keep choosing that, because that's what I learned in my family. That's what you learn too.
And it doesn't matter. A person could look good on the outside, dress nice, live in a beautiful home. Having things and possessions does not make you a stable functioning adult. It's getting love in home, being affirmed in your love, and then allowing you the freedom to express yourself and to be you. And I know for myself, my quote unquote family, it was not that way. I didn't learn that until I got to be way past an adult, before I felt comfortable even allowing myself to say, I don't like when somebody would do or say something to me. I felt kind of weird still, even though I knew it was within my right to express myself. I still felt guilty every time I spoke up, because I felt like I was being disrespectful, especially if it was something where I had to confront an older person or whoever. But I had to learn to get over that, because if somebody does not respect you, why are you giving them respect? So I had to learn about respect was earned, and I had to learn first also how to respect my own self.
Yeah. So I think enemies is the enemy in the family is what we saw when we were kids. You understand what I'm saying? Like all the dirt that was done in my family, all the hurt that I saw my mom go through. Uh, to me, that is the enemy, and I took that on without knowing it. See, that's how the enemy works, you know. And if I hadn't have gotten broken down and sent to therapy, I wouldn't have never known this. You know, the enemy is tough, baby. You know, I would have never known how to shed that old thinking and what I learned in my family if I had not have went to therapy and broke that curse. Okay? And broke that curse. I don't choose people like that today, you
Yeah.
know? And to me, that is how the enemy works in the family. Now, your friends, that's a whole different another thing, you know. But if you want to talk about the enemy and the family, it is the dysfunctional stuff. It is the hurtful stuff. It is the low down, dirty stuff that people don't talk about in their families. That's the enemy. And
Mhm.
it affects the kids. Don't they know that? No, they don't, because they probably was raised up in that same stuff. You see what I'm saying? So when I had to go and look, I used to be so mad at my parents. But then after I stayed in therapy, and my therapist took me back to, well, what were your grandparents like on both sides of my family? Once I started looking at that, then I was like, damn, my parents ain't had a chance either. And then you go back some more, they ain't had a chance either. Then you go back some more, it's slavery.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So the enemy has been working a long time, and they were so secretive back from slavery all the way up until I was born. You don't talk about certain things. Well, today I talk about everything to my kid.
Everything, everything is talked
She
about.
was growing up,
And
she knew every birth control. What is, you want to have sex? Oh, okay, well, let's go to the doctor. Look, I'm not trying to play with this.
Mhm.
Okay? So she knew a lot of stuff long before it even happened, but that's the enemy right there. When you keep secrets in the family and you don't tell your kids what's going on, you
and,
think
and all and all and Geo, and all it does is bring another generation of brokenness, another generation of more curses, because if you don't find a way, like grab it by the reins like I had to, I seriously, if I didn't make a drastic change in my life, if I didn't say this is not working, why don't I know how to communicate? Why can't we talk about how we feel? Why? If I didn't get sick and tired of that and make a change for myself, I know for sure that would not have filtered down to my siblings, and now it's filtering down to nieces and nephews and cousins. And I already am starting to see the change, because my nieces and nephews are growing up loving each other and communicating. And when I see that, I smile inside, because they don't understand how big that is. Because if you think about 3, 4 generations, it's been brothers and sisters at each other's necks, you know? And
right.
I love to see now, like, brothers and sisters hugging each other, talking to each other, having each other's back. I'm like, yes, it's working. It's working.
Yeah, I can see where, just by me going to therapy and staying in and standing my ground and boundaries with my family, because they said I was in a cult, because
Mm.
I was changing. I wasn't thinking like them. I can see what God has done in my family through me. Okay, the message. My family is not like they used to be. We sit down today and we'll say we miss our mom. We'll say, yeah, daddy was a hoe.
Mhm.
No, we'll actually talk about it, and it's not like it's a big secret anymore. Because I was shocked at what my oldest sister said, about daddy, you
Mhm.
know, and it's not no big secret no more.
Yeah,
Except for when you
we're
go
at
around his family, they want to act like he was all of that. And I look at them and say, no, he wasn't. He was the biggest hoe I know, and y'all know it. And that's just how I talk to them. And they be like, don't let Gio come around, because she ain't gonna agree with it.
no, what it is that a lot of people don't want you to uncover, because they've put this false narrative in their head, and they've
Right.
convinced themselves, because I was one of them too. When you have both parents in the home, when you have food, you have clothes, like on the outside to everybody else, they feel everything is good. Like everybody's like, because back in the day, that's what it was about. As long as you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, you should be good. But there's many things that is outside of just having shelter and clothing and food. You need way more than that to raise a child. But back in the day, they didn't think about those things. Like, what
No.
about their mental health? What about teaching them spirituality? What about teaching them courage and being strong, and teaching them to be persistent, and teach them about
Mhm.
overcoming challenges? All of those things that I am grateful for, to be able to be in the shoes that I am at my age, and look at the generation coming after me, and I can see their strength. Like, they don't play about things. Like, when they don't like something, they're like, you will not be disrespectful, you can leave. And I'm like, yes, where was that when I was 15? They're like, don't come in here and start no mess. They'll say that from a young age, whereas back in the day, if we even attempted to do something like that, we would have been hit into the wall.
Yep. The enemy was lying low, waiting for us to grow up so that we could act the same way. Okay.
Mhm.
And I got thrown out of a lot of Thanksgivings, not Christmases. Then I learned to keep my mouth shut. And that came from because I didn't want to upset my daughter, around Christmas time. But once I got myself together and I had came out of therapy, and they would sit around and act like dad and my sisters and brothers was all of that, and I would come in and say, no, he wasn't. He did this and he did that. What was
Mhm.
y'all let y'all know what? I said, why are we keeping this secret anymore? And they would get upset with me and put me out. And I
Right.
would cry all the way home. I said, why I have to go through all of this therapy just to get kicked out when I'm trying to help them? So my therapist would say, they not ready. you
Mhm.
know. She said, just lighten up. They not ready. So the following year I got back invited to the Thanksgiving. Same thing, because Gio can't keep her mouth shut. I wasn't going to keep it shut because I done that for so many years, and look where it got me, nowhere.
Mhm.
Okay, and finally, after a good 5 years, uh, they kind of like came around, start talking about it. But I stood my ground.
And that's what it takes. I want to highlight this comment from Forever Mimi. She says,
Mhm.
I am 46 years old. Me and my family still do not talk about past things because they never had a chance to deal with it. And I know that if it wasn't for my parents passing, or certain older ones, like the big mama and auntie and uncle, like until they passed away, we could never have conversations, because they were from that reasoning children are seen and not heard. So no matter what, if you brought up anything, they were going to make it into this big deal, because they never would be accountable for what they did wrong. They would never apologize. They never wanted to grow. They felt like they were operating in dysfunction. Dysfunction had become what they had adopted.
The
And
enemy. It's dysfunction is the enemy in the family. It is. And if you don't know that, go, open up that door and deal with your past. And
Mhm.
then you will understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Because if you do not deal with your past and you keep asking yourself, why am I acting a certain way? Why I keep doing a certain thing? Is because it's what you learned. Well, I can only speak for myself. What I learned back in the day without even knowing that I learned it. That is the enemy, Marlene. I rest my case.
Yep. It is though, Gio, and I had to face that for myself And it was like a out of body experience when I finally came to that conclusion that I am the way that I am because nobody calls each other out on anything. Even growing up, if you did something wrong, everybody would be like, oh, like, just like, oh, well, you get on my nerves. And then they would just move on. Like nothing is talked about. Like if somebody does something and they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. They never acknowledge. Everything is just like smooth over. Oh, leave him alone. Let him be. Let him. Everything is let him be. Let him be. So you have all of these issues from years, you know,
Yeah.
that you have piled on your head and in your heart, anger, resentment, disappointment. And if nobody ever apologizes, nobody is ever mature enough to say sorry. Nobody ever tells the truth. Or the thing that used to irritate me the most is when adults would do something wrong and people would give them a pass because they were older. Oh, I'm just making up a name. Oh, Uncle John. You know how Uncle John is. That's how he is. Just because he's been that way for 40 years, that doesn't make it okay to say Uncle John is doing X, Y, and Z. And he has been. That doesn't make it right. It's time for Uncle John to stop that. You know,
Right.
that
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I'm grateful for, starting with. I may not see the full progression of it, but I'm grateful to see my nieces and my nephews having conversation. And if they get mad with each other, they'll say, like, they know about boundaries already. Like, I don't want to talk right now, I'm not in a good mood, just give me a few minutes. And I'm like, yes, yes, I love to see things like that, instead of having this big blowout like how it used to be back in the day, and people at each other, I want to talk about it, I want to talk about it. Instead of just giving people their space, and then when they calm down, having a conversation. but
Oh, you
but we
gonna
didn't
talk
know
to
about
me?
boundaries back in the day.
Yeah, girl. I'm. You know what? This is why when we had these types of conversation, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I got broke down at work, y'all. This wasn't like a decision I made to go no therapy. I was trying to get my coins. I was trying to make that money. You know what I'm saying? And one day at work, I got broke down because I was working on something for some scientists, and they kept talking about death. And I just couldn't take it no more. All of that pain I had hidden and pushed down about around my mother's death came up that day. And I put my head on that desk and I couldn't raise it. It was just so heavy with sadness, pain, anger, rage. I felt all of that. And I just know that it was a God thing because that's how I made it to therapy. And the
Mm.
CEO of the company paid everything, made sure that I got to therapy, got what I needed, and I had my job when I got back. That's a God move because, I was black. You know what I'm saying? And so for that, I'm truly grateful. For that, I ask God, if you just help me get up out this darkness, that meant help me open up the door to where all of this pain and hate is that I've been hiding for years and scared of how it's going to turn out. I might lose my family. I might lose myself, but I'm tired of living this way. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to a therapist and I opened up that door. And guess what? I didn't die. I made it through. That's why I wrote that song, Marlene. We made it. It
Yes,
takes courage to do what we do.
yes, it does. It takes, listen, it takes a lot of courage to get on an app, get on a platform, get on a social media, and to look into that when that live button is going, and to say, I didn't always act the right way. I did this and this, or this person did this and this to me. And I know that that's not for everybody, but it is for me, because that is, I feel that this is my mission, this is my purpose, this is what I'm here to do. Because of what I've been through, I feel that my experiences have qualified me. And now that I have been through certain things, I feel like I have the responsibility to reach down and elevate another woman and another man, because I had stayed stuck for so long. I had been under like such a heavy yoke, such a heavy hurt and pain in my heart, in my mind, that I never thought I had the ability to do things. I thought I had no value. I thought I had no meaning. I just thought I was nothing or nobody, because that's the narrative that I had always got my whole life, always made fun of, because I was always very, very petite. I think when I was in high school, I graduated as a size 0. So I've always been very, very petite. And I was always made fun of for that. And it's crazy, because when you have your relatives or your quote unquote family, that's the place where you should feel the safest. You should feel safe with it, even if everybody else in the world doesn't accept you. You should feel like a safety net with your relatives. And that was not the case for me. But I had to learn that it was okay, because I feel, for me, how me stepping outside of myself when I had my spiritual moment, I had to get treated that way. I had to go down so low that I had nowhere to go but up. I had to learn things about myself so that I could learn about personal development, personal growth, and self love. Because it's one thing to tell somebody about self love, but it's another thing for me to say, I know what it feels like to feel like nothing. I know what I've experienced it. I lived it. I cried tears the first time I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself and I said, Marlene, you have value. That was, I remember that, looking in the mirror and saying that to myself for the first time in my life. I think I was like 23 or 24 years old. And it was the first time in my life I had ever felt like I love me.
Amen. Mm.
Hmm. I see a few people came in. Miss Puzzle Pieces. We have Lilia. Hi, everybody. Hit the like, everybody. One more comment, Gio, and I'll make you get the floor back. Forever Mimi says, I have done it all, and I'm so glad that I have made it over. Now I can pass the baton to the next woman or man who has went through what I went through. Yes.
Amen.
Mhm.
And that's one of the sole reasons I share my story, because you know it's got it's somebody out there that needs to hear it. It's somebody out there that needs help. And for me, I'm just grateful. I'm truly grateful for my life. And if you ever have come to any of my lives on my channels and you hear me talk about the the Holy Spirit, and you hear me talk about how God saved my life, I truly mean it. Hmm.
Mhm.
Because without that night and me saying, God, if you just help me get out this tunnel, I would
Mhm.
tell people how I made it, because I don't have to live the way I used to, Marlene.
Mhm.
I don't have to pick
Mhm.
people that's crazy and don't mean me any good in my life anymore, whether that be a romantic relationship or a friend. Today I know the difference. Today I love Geo. Today, I love the Lord. Okay? Today, I know exactly who I am, my work, where I'm going, and everything I want to do. I can do it. Now, you think I'm going to let somebody, an enemy, come up in my life and take that away? No, ma'am. I'm going to fight you tooth and nail with the Holy Spirit and everything I learned in therapy. In matter of fact, you may not get 2 inches up in my life, because that's how much I've learned to protect myself, to protect Gio, because I love her so, so, so much. And it took a long time, guys. This ain't something that happened overnight. It took practice in the mirror, like she said. Say, I love you, Gio. You are a precious child of God. You can do whatever it is you need to do. You are somebody. You can forgive today. You can be successful. Pick something. Let's do something. Let's go for it. Put God in the front, and you can go many, many places. This is what I used to say to myself over and over, Marlene, until I believed it.
Yes, Gio. Listen, I'm talking about testify, testify. See, if we don't share our story, um, and I know that it takes a lot of courage, and I'm so grateful to have you not only just online, but also in real time as a friend, because there's not a lot of people that you can say, I've been through something and will understand. When we say we've been through something, a storm, a hard time, some people would just say, oh, okay, but they don't get it. It's like, they're buffering. They don't get it until you have actually been through something that has disrupted you mentally, that has disrupted you physically, financially, spiritually, something that has shook you from the core of your being. Until something major happens in your life, you cannot get what it's like when you say, I made it.
Amen. 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 See, I wouldn't have never understood that if I'd have met you, what, 15, 16 years ago. I would have
Mhm.
just looked at you and said, girl, please. You know what I'm saying? But today, because I went through it, and then I went and got help and made it through that. Because it was a many days, y'all, when I went to therapy, that I wanted to just tell that therapist, I ain't coming back. That's just too hard.
Mhm.
But because I got a glimpse of what's on the other side of all of this, I wanted it. I wanted it. Okay, I got a glimpse that I can live a better life. I didn't have to think crazy, and I could tell somebody where to go. No, I'm not doing that. No, that is not for me. You know, once I got that glimpse, I was like, okay, okay. That's when I had to come on back to God. I said, God, I'm gonna need you to bring me out this tunnel, because it's too hard to do it by myself. But I know my mama said that if I needed you to call on the name of Jesus, and that's what I'm doing. I remember this prayer in my room by myself. And when I woke up that next day, I knew I was going to make it. And that's how come I tell this story to people. Whether you are a believer or not, I don't care. But this is what happened to me.
Mhm.
And I did what my mama said to do. And this is why I'm sitting here today. Free.
Mhm.
Huh.
Listen,
Okay?
listen, Gio. Let me tell you something. When I was so rock bottom, let me tell you how rock bottom I was, Gio. I had, I had just broken up with a boyfriend. I had dropped out of college. I didn't have a job. I was back living at home with my mama. Everything everything was happening to me until one of those things that uh until you lose everything. I gotta turn on my camera so people can see my face when I say this. Sometimes you have to lose everything that makes you comfortable. You got to lose everything. People have to leave, because I was one of those persons who had such a hard head that if people stayed in my life, if people did good things for me, because when all those people that I cared about left me or wouldn't talk to me, or they were mad at me because of what I did, now I was forced to face the reality of who I was, that there was no more running. I had been running my whole life. That's what I was very good at doing that. But it was time for me to stop running and to look at myself in the mirror and to say, this is what you're doing and you need to change it.
Right. That's the hard part. What part did you play
You
in it?
play.
Mm, mm, mm,
I
mm,
used to get
mm.
so mad. Listen, Jill, when my therapist used to say, I remember when I used to be like, and they did this, because I don't know if I've said it on this channel, but my therapist used to say certain things to me, and I said, but I'm not here for you to help me. Remember, I told you I went into therapy so that my therapist could help me with my siblings and help me with my romantic relationship. My therapist is like, no, 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 honey. It's not them. They don't need the help.
Yeah.
You need the help. And I was like, I didn't come here for this. I was like, pick up my purse. I was like, I ain't paying you
No.
to tell me what I need to do and what I need to fix. I need you for you to give me these tools so I can go and help my brothers and my sisters. Are you going to help me? Mm. That's how lost I was.
Mm. Well, every time I went in there complaining about somebody or sister, brother, or whatever, aunt, what part did you play in it? Sometimes we don't play a part in it, though, Marlene.
Yes, and let's talk about that. The last banner that we have is fakes.
Hmm.
Fakes. hmm So it's the people who they appear to be a certain way, but then when the mask falls off and you find out who they actually are, and I'm just gonna say it, and there's many fakes on social media.
Thank you, because I ran smack dead into one.
Mm.
Mm, mm, mm.
There's many fakes, and I this is not a tea channel. I'm not here to start no mess or to say names or any of those things because I'm too grown for those things. But I say that to say this: because you don't know who people really are, be careful with what you share. Be careful with who you trust. Be careful who you align with. All of those things.
Yeah, cause honey, they act like you. They you you know they just act like they want to be friends with you, and they always there, and this and that, and the next thing you know, they didn't got your ideas. They didn't wrote everything down, and they on their channel doing it before you could do it,
Mhm.
or you doing it and they done copied it and say it's theirs. Okay,
Yeah. But
and
but oh, go ahead, Jill.
but and you thought that you guys were friends. That's hurtful.
Mhm. Very hurtful. It's
That's
very
real fake.
it's very hurtful when somebody portrayed themselves to be a certain way, and then when the rug gets pulled out from under you and you come to that realization, or when you like one day they do something to you, whatever, however way you find out how a person really is. But once somebody shows you who they are, the thing that I had to learn in my maturity is for me not to come out of a bag on them, because that was the old me and my immaturity. When somebody would do something to me, the first thing for me to do is like, okay, what I'm going to do, like I got to get even, I have to do or say something. No, 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 no. When somebody shows you who they are, all you have to simply do from then on is just block.
Yeah, you just, because when that happened to me, I'm so glad me and Marlene were friends. Because just because just because I have recovery and most and 99% of my life I'm in it all the time, recovery. And I act accordingly and what I'm supposed to do. But because I'm human, every now and then that 1% want to rear up in me and want to do something. Okay, but if you have a good support team and you can manage to call them and say such and such and such and did this and this and this, what it is that you be feeling, especially if you thought you were friends, is hurt. But who want to feel that? So you rather be mad and angry and want to do something. But once I started talking to Marlene about it, I kind of figured out, well, I did figure out that it was just a hurt that I didn't want to feel. And then I just said to myself, that's it. I cannot ever be friends with this person because they have broke my trust and I felt betrayed. But I didn't go and make no video. I didn't say nothing to the person. I didn't do nothing. I just let God handle it. And I just did what I needed to do to protect myself. And that was it, Marlene. What really wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? I am so proud of you for you even making that statement that you just glossed over it, but those who don't know you like I do, that's not an easy process, because when somebody does something, the first thing when you're a content creator is for you to hit that, oh, and there they are, and they did this and called their name out. But guess what? What does that say about you? We have to think about it. Okay. What does that say about you? And you're showing that you're just like them. And when you're trying to elevate and be a role model, an example for other people, yes, it hurts. Yes, you feel disrespected, and all of those things. But there's certain things that you allow people to feel how they want to feel. If they feel a certain way about you and they feel slighted and hurt and all of this, and they want to be dramatic and all of those things, the best thing that you can do in those situations, I always said, is your actions. People can say whatever they want to say about you, but
That's so true.
people will find out eventually that everything that they said about you is a lie.
Right.
They'll find out. Make them find out for themselves. And the same people who would disown you, listen, Gio, they're gonna come running back because they're gonna say, "Oh my, I'm so sorry. I thought they lied to me and they portrayed you to be this way." But
Mm.
I'm like Miss Nexty on this. I don't give second chances.
Hey, look at what I like what Forever Mimi said. She said people will love you on here, talking about YouTube. I'm pretty sure, or social media. Let me just start over. People will love you on here in the beginning. Then, when they get tired of you, then they want to throw you under the bus.
Mm, 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 mm.
Expense that. I'm gonna say it like my daddy used to say, expense that. I experienced that, okay? Let me say it the proper way. I experienced that.
No, you just was talking with a southern drawl. That's all.
I spent, look, all of them. Let me just say this too. Although my dad was what he was, but he also was a great entrepreneur. Okay. Uh, he taught us how to have our own business. He taught us how to do more than one thing. Never just go to school and learn one thing and that's all you know how to do. He taught us how
Mhm.
to learn many things so that if one thing fall apart, we would have something else to do. Okay? I learned that from my dad. I just didn't get all the bad stuff from him. I got good stuff from him too. You know, it's just that the bad stuff just overrided the good stuff. You know what I'm saying, Marlene? But I did want to just
Yeah.
say that because I don't want people walking away thinking that he was just, you know, he did all that other stuff, but he also made sure that we had food on the table, clothes to wear to school, and he preached education.
Right.
Okay. So the enemy to me was still lying low because it was lying, and it was not only in me, but it was in my sisters too.
Mm.
How, I mean, that's really, when I really found out how the enemy works in a dysfunctional family, and I looked at my sisters and my brothers, all I could do that night was just cry and pray
Wow.
and ask God to help them.
You know what helped our family is we had to start from the beginning. Gio, we had to start from the beginning, just like it was like our first day meeting each other. I remember, oh man, and that was a homework assignment that I hated. And we know about homework assignments when we were in therapy, right, Gio?
Right,
They
right.
give you assignment, and I was like, oh. So that assignment that I got that time was to start from the beginning, because even though they were my siblings, but we didn't know each other. And I, like you guys can see me doing air quotes, we didn't know each other. We you
Mm.
see people, but just because you see people doesn't mean that they actually know you. Like, what do you like to do, what are your goals, and all of those things. So that was my assignment, to start to get to know my siblings. And I started off a very simple statement by just telling my siblings, thank you for being in my life, and I love you. We started right.
Yep, I got that assignment too, was to write a letter to all of my sisters and brothers, all because I did some wrong in there too to them.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
I had to fess up to that. That was hard, Marlene. Whew. But I
Yeah.
made it. I made it through because I saw a glimpse of what life could be. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote, and most of my siblings, they would say, "Oh, you don't need to write that. You're doing good." I said, "No, I need for you to sit down in this chair because this is what my therapist want me to do, and I need to read you this letter, and then you can do whatever you want with it." But for me, what that done, it just lifted up the burden off of me. You understand? I don't know. It just did. It made me a better person. So
And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to hear that, because listen, what people don't understand is that when you become a better person, then it's a domino effect. Then your siblings become better, your children
right,
become better. You choose better people to be in a relationship with. You improve in your quality of what you're giving for whatever work or business that you do. Because when you're toxic, you're gonna always bring more toxicity to you. I see Miss Dexy in the background. I don't know how long you want to stay on, Geo. So if at any point you feel that you got to drop down or whatever, you can.
okay.
Hi, Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene. Hello, Miss Geo.
Hey, Nancy.
Hey, hey, hey.
I cannot relate at all to what you two are saying because I'm perfect. Marlene knows that. The world will know it today. And Gio, that letter, that the assignment, I had that assignment as well, by the way, and Marlene. So
Oh,
um, I
Yeah.
feel that the hardest letter for me to write with my therapist was the one I had to write to my mother.
Mm.
That was the hardest one for me. So Gio, I understand. Marlene, I understand.
yeah. People don't understand, like, oh, how hard is it to write a letter? It is hard. It's hard when you don't want to talk to them, when they've caused you pain and hurt. The thing that you want to do is run in the other direction. Like, I don't want to talk to this person. I don't want to heal the relationship. I want to stay mad. Like, you want to be like a 2-year old. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, but what I learned
Eh, that
from it, Nexie, was when I got back to my therapist's office. I'm pretty sure you know this, is that forgiveness was for me, for what I had
yeah,
caused problems in my family. And they had caused me tons of problems. Okay. But when I got done with I was free. I felt like I can go on and I can, like Marlene said, I can start over. I don't know if that
it's
was
like
the way it was for you, but that's how it was for me.
it was. And you know the thing here, Gio, and this is the part that many people probably don't understand. If they haven't gone through therapy, or if they haven't reached this level yet, as you go through therapy, is that what you're gonna write on that letter are not gonna be pleasantries. They're gonna be a lot of it's gonna be a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, a lot of anger, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of the voids that this person left on you. So it's going to be a very harsh letter that you need to read to that person, that even though that person has hurt you and has done, a number on you, you don't want to hurt them that way, which is why you probably haven't been able to talk to them face to face. So this letter does the talking for you. So even though this person is probably not ever going to want to talk to you again because of what this letter says, it gives you this enormous relief and peace of mind, because you got all that you had in your head going on and on and on and on and on. Every time you saw this person, it got it out there. So you're relief and you're in peace and you're like, oh my God, wow, I feel so light. That person may not be happy,
Yeah.
but you feel peaceful.
Please. Oh, like I told Marlene and everybody, I saw a glimpse of what it could be like, and I wanted it. So I fought for my life, And let me tell you something. My siblings, they didn't want to sit down and listen to it, because you know why? Because it made them feel pain, or whatever it was they didn't want to feel. But I was truthful with everything that I said, because I wanted my life. I wanted what I have today, you know? And
Hmm.
I knew that I had, my therapist used to tell me, you gotta fight for your life. Fight for it. And that's why you'll hear me say that today. I don't care what y'all say. I fought for this, baby. You're not getting it.
Amen to that. And nobody can take that away from you now.
No.
I
So
know.
go ahead, Lexi.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You said that this part that we're speaking of is fake, right? And there's a lot of people like that, especially now that we're so connected through, the social media and shows and all the things. There's a lot of fake people. Now, people that are fake are always. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I'm private. Yes, I'm private. My private life is that, exactly that, private. There's only a couple of people that are privy to, that I allow, that I can go on and say, this is what I'm going through. This is what's happening in my life. Normally, I'm very happy. very kind, very nice. That's who I am. That's not something that is fake about me. So a lot of people come to you like that in this, YouTube and all these other social media places. The thing that I can actually see through is the fact that when you are a not a fake person but a real you can actually tell, you can actually feel it, because they give themselves up with certain things that they say, certain ways they treat other people, certain shows that they do, their lives that they do. So once I see that, I'm like, oh, so you're just pretending you're nice, so you're just faking it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it.
Mhm.
And so for me, and Marlene, I'm glad you for once you use my say. I don't
Yes,
give
yes.
I do not give second chances, because I treat people with respect. I treat people with kindness, and I treat people the same way I want to be treated. So the minute you cross that line, that disrespect, or you're fake to me or two-faced, whatever they want to call it, that's it, because that's the real you. My dad always told us, take people for who they are. Whatever they do to you, that's who they are. There's no ways about it. If somebody yells at you the first, second, third time that you meet him, run, because that's exactly how the person's gonna behave with you from then on.
Yep.
So that's the way that I am. So people here may think they're trying to fool you, may think that those topics that you guys work so hard to come up with, they can steal them and do the show and pretend it's theirs. Eventually those who follow them leave them, because they realize that it's not from them, it's from somebody else that they've been following for a long time, or that it doesn't go with who they are in their own lives. So it doesn't work out for them, because it's not their own creation. You can only put out what you have inside of you. So
Mm,
if kindness and motivation and the ability to force certain people to watch videos, not throwing rocks at you, Gio, not at all. If you have that ability to be a boss lady and do that, if you don't have that inside of you, but you want to fake it till you make it, you're gonna make it, but you're gonna fail, because it's not your original idea. It's not who you are. So when people do that to certain, I'm not gonna name any names of who um, uh, I've seen with certain topics from you, Marlene, and others. I'm not gonna say who, but those people that do these things to content creators, they don't get too far, because it doesn't come out as original.
yeah, but the whole thing about it, I'm glad you said that, Nexi, is because as content creators, a lot of people feel, and I know Geo, we've talked about this before. When somebody steals your ideas and your content, people say you should feel flattered. Well, guess what? Marlene is not flattered.
I'm not either. I'm mad. I
Somebody would have
mean,
stolen
it's.
my thesis in college. Flattery would have been the last thing I would have felt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just unethical. I'm not trying to steal nobody's stuff. I'm not trying to make them feel bad. If anything, once they got it going, I would probably say, hey, can we collaborate with each other on this? Or, all you have to do is ask a person.
Yeah. That shows it. That shows, for one, that shows that you respect yourself, and for number two, you respect other people. The thing about social media I found is that a lot of people, they get on here and they just highlight more of who they are, and they say, oh no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just doing this for social media. No, that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's no. I'm like, no, that's who you are. You could say, oh, and we've heard it all. Oh, I'm this, and I'm so generous, and I'm kind, and I love people. And the moment something happens, they go off. I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
where's the kindness? Where's the niceness? Where did that go?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly. And that's the thing though. It's when you come across people like that, you analyze, right, the situation. And what I do when I come across, I like a content creator, and then this person is so nice and they're doing all these things, and I like their topics, and then all of a sudden there's somebody that has fallen in the internet for whatever reason, or somebody that they don't like, and they start poking, making fun of this person, doing things that go way above and beyond of making a joke, a mockery out of this person. What I do is I take a couple of steps back and say, okay, wait a minute. If this person is doing this to this person that they don't really know, imagine what will happen to me if I ever make this person mad, upset, or
Exactly.
whatever. So I start pulling away because, for me, that's not something I enjoy. I don't like people being bullied on in the internet or anywhere else for that matter. I don't feel that is the right thing to do when you're making fun of someone that has lost, everything, or has gone a path that, this person probably never thought that they will find themselves there. So when I see people like that, I start stepping away, because the last thing I want is, for me to have to take legal action against that person.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they let you know who they are.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. And we have a question here from Realist. I'm gonna let you ladies go first and then I'll go last. But Realist says, how do you decide when someone steals your idea? If it's once, is it a coincidence? Is it twice? Okay, they know what they're doing. When do you all decide that we know that this person is stealing ideas?
when I ran up on them in a live reading everything that I said for word, that was once realist, and that ain't gonna ever happen. I did what I had to do. I got mad about it. I called Marlene. Then I decided, okay, block party. We just never said anything else. They knew exactly what they were doing. If they were reading it off of a paper, a tablet, word for word, that they knew.
Yeah.
And I'm with Nexie on that particular piece. No second chances.
Oh no, no, you can't take what next is teaching everybody. Everybody's gonna start saying, "I don't believe it."
No, no, I don't want to teach people that. No, no, no. You
No,
like it, you say.
Nexie. I'm a grown woman, Marlene. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, that particular person will never get a second chance to
and
do
and
that
good for
again.
you.
I'm with
Well,
Nexie on that piece.
now for me, I'm not a content creator. Marlene knows this. Gio knows this. I'm just a supporter, but I pay attention of who I follow, and I've seen certain things on different, content creators, and I'm like, oh, I heard that. Good example, right? I can say, oh, I heard that. Well, Realist was talking about that the other day. Like, how come this person is talking about? Well, that's weird. I can go to Marlene's and say, wait a minute, I heard this. Marlene was talking about this the other day. I heard this in somebody else's. Why is this person so? For me, I think that if we pay attention to what we create, we can figure out really quick who's stealing our ideas or our creations. Now, they can steal away if they want to, because they're not creative enough. But the one thing they're not going to be able to do, and this is for all of you beautiful people, beautiful content creators, they're not going to be able to deliver your creation with the same passion, with the same love, with the same attention, and with the same resonance that you would, because you are the content creators. You're the ones that came up with it. So they can steal them. They can do it, but I will pay attention to, okay, this is the second time I see something I did on you. This is not a coincidence anymore. It's not a quink or kink. Nope. You're stealing my stuff. That's how I will see it.
True. I agree with you. Marlene, your last word, please.
Even though it's her show. Go on, Marlene. Speak up. Oh no, she quit, Gio. She's like, that's it. I'm not gonna be able to deal with this too.
Oh, Marlene dropped off.
Oh yeah, I told you she left us all hanging. She's like, that's it.
Oh, I was
They talk
open.
too much.
Yeah, well, that particular person, I just today, it happened like maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would open up or whatever, they were there. They were urging me on, telling me this and that, and all the time writing stuff down.
Wow, that is
And then when
terrible,
you walk up
terrible.
and I saw this person live, and I, went to the live, and I heard when I was walking in there everything that I said, word for word.
Oh no, no, no,
I
no.
was so hurt. I ain't gonna lie.
Of course.
I was shocked. Like, what is this person doing? Why would they do this? They didn't even ask me. They just took my stuff, and because it was working. You see, I'm a businesswoman. I know what people, if you got to offer people something that they need and they want and they will pay. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I figured it out when I was 12 years old. If I learned how to play the piano, I could get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I
You can
taught
make money.
I taught my father into sending me to music school down the street to Miss Boyd's because she taught music for 6 months. He said to me, I don't know if I can afford it. I said, if you do this, I can play for the children's choir. Not only did he do that, but he got me a piano to practice on at home. Okay? That was my father, even though he was the other stuff, but he was that too. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew from an early age that I was going to be an entrepreneur because I used to stand behind the cars, the old cars my dad used to fix, telling my brothers how to be an entrepreneur and what to do. And I used to say to myself, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to make some money too. And I'm like, and for her to do that,
that hurts. That is painful. But again, I have even uh, seen people poke fun of others that they follow, okay, and that they're calling a friend and this and that, and they have all this love for this person, and I've heard them on some lives making fun of either speech or something that they've said, and I'm thinking, what kind of human are you? Like, no, you're stealing their content, you're making fun of them. Like, what kind of person are you? Go on, Miss Marlene, it was your turn.
Oh no, I was letting you all talk.
okay, go ahead, Marlene, because I'm going to have to go get out of here in a few minutes.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna stay on here for too long. You guys know how I like to do it, but I want to acknowledge what you call it,
Realist said.
realist was saying, because he's saying, yeah, that's next level. It's next level for somebody to take someone's title, take somebody's video, take somebody's concept, and try to duplicate it. And let me tell you something. Every time I've seen somebody go and try to recreate what somebody else is doing, it never, it doesn't has that, with that zhuzh, that, like, because it's not them,
Exactly.
it never turns out right, and you're like, this, either they're not saying it the right way, or they don't have they're not giving their personality, and that's what it is. They cannot give what another person has because they're not them.
Right. It takes leadership. It takes for people to like and trust you. If you do not have that, then you know people are not going to follow you. I'm
That
just being honest.
yeah, but if you, let's say, if we're, let's say we pick a topic, let's say we're talking about children, right? Talking about little ones that they have certain diseases or conditions or whatever it is. We're talking about that, and I can say, oh my God, yes, I can literally talk about that all day because it's what I love to do. It's what I do, right? I can
Right.
talk and talk and talk. Marlene can say, you know what, I'm going to talk about kids in a certain way. Marlene won't be able to do it the same way I do because it's not what she knows. She's
Mhm.
not going to be able to deliver it the same way because it's not something she is good at, because it's not something she's doing all the time. Now, I cannot speak about motivation. I'm not a motivational speaker, or someone that dwells in this type of topics. I can try to motivate a little, but I will never be able to deliver the same way Marine does. I can take her titles and the funny thing is that they steal them and they just flip the words and they think that nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That no one can deliver my story like I
No,
can, and no one, can put a team together and keep it together
I
like
cannot
I
make
can.
people, exactly. I cannot make people watch everybody else's videos and do a group like that, Gio, because because I'm not you. I'm not gonna be able to. I can try, right? I can try to teach people how to make money, but it's not my forte. So I
Right.
cannot do it the same way you do. I can say, Gio, can we collab? And can you
Thank
teach
you.
my followers how to make money? Because I love how you do it. I cannot do it the same way you can. We can collab and we can share it on both of our channels, and that's the way you do it. But when you start sneaking around, stealing, thinking that if you change, you know,
Right.
your title for today, if you put one thing first and then the other, or if you added two words in between, nobody's gonna know that you have been stealing the concepts of this person. That is childish. We're
True.
grown, we understand, we know. I will never be able to do that. Never.
Yeah. Well.
Well, well, like what the saying go, it is what it is, and you know,
But you know what? Let me just say this right quick, Marlene. YouTube is changing that because now
Mm-hmm.
they calling that reuse content. Take
Yes, ma'am.
something if you want to. That stuff gonna show up in people's back office under copyright. You got some choices. You can give them a copyright strike, or you can ask them to take it down, or get some of the money. Okay,
mhm.
YouTube is not playing. They are really, if what they do is they use audio. Okay, so if you gonna steal something from my video and Marlene's and whoever else's video, if they come around and you monetize, shit, trust me, you may lose your monetization.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
they are really beginning to listen to the content creators because
And I be, Gio,
that's
I've
all
been
I put
saying
on
this,
the things. Stop people from stealing.
Gio, and I've been saying this, Marlene. Haven't I been saying this since last year?
you have,
YouTube is changing. I told them, I think it was in October, I think, or September of
yeah,
last
you
year.
did October of last year.
I told everybody that YouTube is changing. They're
Yeah,
going in a different direction. It's gonna
right.
be, they're gonna sweep away a lot of the not so good content because they're cleaning it up. There's a lot of lawsuits going around. YouTube, I don't know if it has and you haven't checked, but there's a lot of lawsuits going around for other social media platforms. And so YouTube is trying to say, hey, wait a minute. We have a bad name because of what we're allowing these people to do and say. We got to clean it up, and they're doing a cleanup. They're moving in a different way. YouTube is
Right.
going to be something very different. I've been saying this since last year. It's going a
Yeah.
different direction. So you guys have to come and bring productive, meaningful topics, something that can change somebody's life. That bullying, calling people names, showing their pictures on your channels, all that is going to be done and over with. That's it. All those people are going to get struck by them, and they're going to be demonetized because it's not the way that they want to continue to be. A lot of more professionals are coming into the platform and talking about certain things. And you're going to have the ability, I'm pretty sure, to hook up with some of these professionals and collaborate with them. But in order for that to happen, they have to clean up the channel, they have to clean up the app.
They do.
Mm.
Awesome conversation, ladies.
Yes, ma'am.
Any final words?
Stop stealing. Oh,
Yes,
I'm
stop
sorry.
stealing.
I
That's
jumped the gun.
number
I
one,
jumped the
right?
gun. I jumped the gun.
Well, my final word is to somebody is that if that you can make it too. Me and Marlene and Nexu, we all made it. We opened up that door that would help all the pain that kept us down in life and didn't think that we could make it or be anybody. We opened up that door with the help of a therapist, and we made it across. It is a better life if you just try. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a. I love my life today. I couldn't say that 30 years ago in Exie, but
I'm
today
so
I
happy you
can.
can. I'm so happy you can. I'm so happy. I told this to Marlene. I love my life. I really do.
Hmm.
I enjoy the life I have. I enjoy the friends that I have because those are people that I have handpicked to be in my life. All those toxic friends, they're long, I mean, ex friends, they're long gone because they're not someone I wanted in my life anymore. And through therapy is how you learn to make these choices to have a better life. And I'm glad, Gio, that you got the help that you needed and you are who you are today. I'm very, very proud of both of you ladies, Marlene as well, that you got the help that you needed because not everybody gets there. And that there's such stigma on therapy and getting the help you need that not many people take that leap of faith. But I'm glad that all three of us were able to be wise enough to go and get the help that we needed. And our poor therapist, I'm pretty sure they retire after us. Nonetheless, it's a reward that after all the pain and sorrow that you had to pour out of you on that chair, after that having the life that we have is such a reward. No money can buy that. I'm sorry. No amount of money can buy you the peace of mind, the happiness, and the healthy mind that we have today if it wasn't for that.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. And my final words is that there's nothing like being yourself. I speak about it all the time on my other channels. It's nothing like knowing yourself and loving yourself. And unfortunately, there's going to be people that we know of, whether it's relative, spouse, significant other, friends. It's going to reach anybody that you know, anybody you come in contact with. But you can't allow other people to stop you from being your best. I think I wanted that to be my message of my 1K show, to say that and reinforce it and continue it, that no matter what you've been through, no matter who has hurt you, no matter who has tried to stop you, and even the haters, the jealous people, no matter what, never stop being yourself. Yeah. Forever Mimi says, stop stealing.
Sorry about that. I jumped the gun. Me, I jumped the gun.
Yeah. All of those things. So I truly appreciate everybody who came through. Thank you so much, Boss Life Online and Miss Nexty and Team Ranger, Forever Mimi, Realist One. I don't know who else came in, but everybody who came into the building today, I really truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye bye,
Thank you, everybody.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.